Hello and welcome to another FETV. I'm Thomas Parker and today I'm going to talk to you about Churton Sauvignon Blanc 2018. Sauvignon Blanc and New Zealand are pretty much synonymous, especially in the Marlborough region where you'll see lots of these kinds of wines on supermarket shelves and in independent retailers, but they all tend to have that same sort of tropical, quite ripe style that can quite often be off-dry. This is a slightly different beast. Sam Weaver and the team at Churton have been working on Sauvignon Blanc since 1997 in New Zealand, which makes them one of the older wineries in the modern sort of revolution of New Zealand winemaking. And he really tries to make a Sauvignon Blanc style that's more akin to something that you'd find in the Loire with the top end Sancerre or Pouilly Fumé. That means that these wines are drier in style, a lot less tropical and a lot more kind of textural. They have a lot of sort of steely fruit and more of those kind of grassy aromas that you'd associate with Sancerre. This winery, as I said, was started in 1997, and the vines for this particular wine were planted in 2000, which is really quite old for a New Zealand planting, particularly for something like Sauvignon Blanc, where the vines tend to be replanted quite frequently to sort of boost the yields, but that's really not what Sam and his team are looking for. As a result, these vines are planted quite densely at 5,000 vines per hectare, which again is much more of a sort of French way of doing things. So you get much tighter bunches, much smaller bunches on each vine, which actually reduces the yield. And that also means that Sam and his team have to harvest everything by hand, which again is something that's not very common in Marlborough. His vineyard is also very high altitude, again, which allows for these sort of long and slow ripening processes that allow you to get that real extra bit of ripeness and texture in the wine through those riper skins. The practices in the vineyard that Sam is working with are both organic and biodynamic. Once in the winery, again, it's a very sort of meticulous process. They have a rigorous sorting process, and the grapes are whole bunch pressed to get that really pure juice. After fermentation, the wines also spend 9 months on the lees, which is very uncommon for Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, and again adds to that textural richness that you're more likely to see in something from France. So if we take a sniff, yeah, I mean, this is much more something that you'd find in France. It's very grassy, very mineral, got that kind of steely, zesty quality on the nose and on the palate. Very pithy, very textural, still very zesty, but it's really in those kind of citrus characters, not in that kind of tropical passion fruit that you get with a typical Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. I think for a wine like this, you could probably drink it by itself. I'd also think this would be great with some sort of a lot of vegetarian dishes, especially something like asparagus, which is just coming into season in the UK. I think that'd be sort of a perfect thing to have with this because it's so crisp and clean. The price for something like this is really fantastic because it sort of comes into the same price point as something more generic that you quite often find from New Zealand at the moment. We're actually selling it for £96 per dozen in bond, which actually works out at about £12.28 a bottle after your duty and VAT in the UK. Until next time, cheers.